Would you like to grow a green thumb? It's not as difficult as it may seem. This is the second in a series of videos of how to make your plants feel at home. So if you want to have a green thumb, you need to get to know your plant, you need to give it what it needs, and you need to be prepared for it to grow. Let's go to the planting bench and see how that works for this spider plant. So let's learn a little bit about the spider plant. It's native to the coastal regions of South Africa, and some of them grow in the sun while others grow in the shade. Some of them grow where it's hot while others grow where it's colder. Some grow where there's regular rainfall and others grow where there are areas of drought. So what we know about the spider plant is that it is very adaptable, and that makes it great for beginners. So if you choose the spider plant, you can use a regular potting soil because it's not picky about the kind of soil that it's in. You can put it wherever you want to because some like the sun and some like the shade. You could put it in a sunny window, or you could set it off on a table, or even move it to the back porch. In fact, depending on the seasons, it could be outside in the spring, summer, and fall, and then inside in the wintertime. Now, when you water the spider plant, a good rule of thumb is to stick your finger in the soil. Stick it in about an inch. And if it comes out wet, don't water it. If it comes out dry, give it a drink. But know that if you forget, the spider plant is very forgiving because they do live in drought conditions sometimes. So it's a really good plant to choose as a beginner. So let's take a closer look at the spider plant. The spider plant gets its name because of the way it reproduces itself. A spider plant will grow a stem, which is called a stolon, and at the end of the stolon, it will produce little plantlets. And these plantlets look a lot like little spiders hanging on around the mother plant, and that gives it its name. The spiderets, or the plantlets, will grow roots as it hangs on the end of the plant. And here's an example of it. And as it hangs on the stolon, it grows the roots, and eventually it drops off of the stolon onto the ground, and it roots into the ground and grows a new plant. And you can snip off the spiders at any time as long as it has a little bit of root on it. Now there's different varieties of spider plant, and it's primarily related to the way the leaves are striped. There's the green edge with a white stripe in the middle, or there's the reverse of that, a white edge with green in the middle. And you'll notice that some of the stems are very thin and long, but other stems are a bit more fat. And the different varieties grow. Some of them are thin and some of them are fat. And if you look very carefully, these are kind of hard to find, but this one's actually a curly spider plant. And the leaves grow in these interesting little curls around the plant. So particularly with the spider plant, it's just as important to know what's underneath the soil as to observe what's going on above the soil. So we're going to actually take it out of the pot, and I would encourage you to do the same thing with yours. You want to check your roots periodically because they do grow very quickly, and very soon they start wrapping around the outside of the soil ball. And anytime you see a whole bunch of roots wrapping around the soil ball, that's your sign that it needs to be bumped up to a little bit bigger pot. Now if you take a look at these roots, you'll notice something very interesting going on. One of the things I said is that this is a very adaptable plant, whether it's wet or dry or cold or hot. And this particular root structure is the reason why it is so adaptable. Now this is a rhizome, and a rhizome is a stem that grows under the soil. And this particular rhizome stores moisture and it stores nutrients. So if this plant goes through a drought period, or if you go on vacation and forget to water it, This rhizome is going to be where it can access water and nutrients to survive during a time when it's very dry. Now, if you notice on the outside, it has such a nice curved shape. And when you're looking at your plant, after you look at it every day for a week or 2 weeks, you'll notice that when it's fresh and watered, the stems stand up nicely and arch very nicely. But when it starts to get thirsty, when it starts to dry out in the soil, you'll see the leaves starting to droop. And it does that because of turgor pressure. Turgor pressure is the amount of water that is inside the leaf. And when the pressure is high, because there's lots of water stored in the leaf, then it stands up nicely. But when it dries out and the water leaves the leaf, then it begins to wither and droop. So that's your indicator when your plant needs a drink. These plants enjoy being consistently moist, which means they really would rather their roots did not dry out. They will survive if they do dry out, but it would prefer to have consistent moisture. So it likes a schedule of watering to keep it moist, and then just realizing that if you forget and if it dries out, it is adaptable in that way. So the spider plant is a perennial, which means it grows for several years, and it is an evergreen, which means that whether it's summertime or wintertime, it stays green all year round. So this is a great plant to have as a house plant. It's also a good plant for a patio plant because it can take a little bit of change in weather from the spring to the summer to the fall, and it can take the sun as it moves through the sky, whether it's getting a little bit of morning sun on the patio, it can take that. So the spider plant is an excellent starter plant, and with just a little bit of knowledge, you can grow it like a pro. So if you learned something new and you found value in what I'm telling you, then please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. And if you like growing spider plants, you can leave a comment about your plants.